Shall we just go live? He says, shall we just go live a bit early? Impromptu, right, you can't see me, but I have headphones on, and I'm trying to get used to talking with headphones on, which, over-the-ear headphones, trying to talk with them on, it's an experience, because you sound muffled, so this might not last. Come in, wherever you are, say hello, if you're here for the impromptu live stream, because I'm busy this afternoon. I don't like talking with headphones on. Here we are, yes. Aye. Headphones are, I really don't like that. I don't know how people do that. You see people do this on podcasts when they're talking on interviews and they've got full over-the-ear headphones on. But you can hear yourself talk, but it's weird. It's like when you talk on a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting and someone else has got their speakers too loud and it echoes back into, you echo back through their microphone into the speakers and then you can hear your echo of yourself. It's that distracting. I really don't like it. But with the headphones, I can hear any pings that come through and whatnot. I'll do the 1 year thing. Do I look cool with the one? No, I don't look cool. There's nothing cool about how I look with my paint splatter top, because apparently that's the fashion nowadays. John, mate, love some comments on best practices on revision in the model versus the drawing of the... Right, okay, mate, we'll wait for people to come in before I start answering questions. But good one, mate. Love the enthusiasm. We'll wait for some people to roll in. And then... but that's exactly what this is about, mate. It's firing questions over like that. So yeah, we'll wait for some people to roll in. And then we'll get cracking. This is an early one. Normally we'd do these at... I don't think there is a normally at this point. It kind of started at about 6 in the evening UK time, and then it was 5, then it was 6, then it was 4, and then it was 2 o'clock. And then I'm early, from 10 to 2. Cadman 5000. I've been to Cadman 5000. Nothing's changed, but we still use AutoCAD. And your great-great-great-granddad is on the drawing board. Ooh, he's on the drawing board. Just in, mate. And inventors still crashing. And nobody's reading my error reports. And that guy who writes back still says, I'm a developer. Ooh, would you sell any files in? Ooh. Don't know where I'm going with that. What's up? There's nothing up, mate. We're just doing the weekly Not At All Rushed live stream. Which I do loves. We're just waiting for people to roll in before we get started. I'm a bit early. I thought, I'm going out this afternoon. I've got my mum and dad were like, would you like to come round for dinner this evening? Not in their telephone voice. I was like, okay. So I had to push this a bit early. And set it for 2 o'clock. And I thought, I'm kind of ready. So I might as well just start it a bit early. And then here we are. If I could CAD 5,000 times, oh no, don't. Can I rewind that? Do not need that song in my head. Inventor crashed saving. Yeah, they're the worst ones, mate. It's when Inventor crashes whilst you're saving it. That's like the biggest kick in the teeth. But I tell you what, the VRED guys, they've got it down. I've asked them how they've done it and if they can educate the rest of Autodesk. Because when VRED crashes, this is a bit of an alien concept, I know. But it then says, right, VRED's crashed, sorry about that. We know it's a bit inconvenient. But would you like to save your shit before we crash out and you have to start again? So It's like, okay, the program's just completely lost its balls and it's going to exit to the desktop, but we're going to let you still save what you were doing so you don't lose anything. But if you can do that, why can't everyone else do that? I'm from a complete naive, ignorant standpoint there, but surely, if one program can do that, surely there's something in it. But yeah, when a VRED crashes out, you can save everything you're doing. I'm sure not all the crashes do that, but... Oh, hello, cat. I don't know if anyone saw my recent workstation video, but Bridget von Hammersmark, the ragdoll, made an appearance, but she's now wanting to get in on the action. You can't see her, but here she is. Decided to jump up on my lap. The PC's it's not warm enough yet for you. Am I not busy enough? Is that the problem? Is the PC not hot enough? Oh, you are. I believe it's an absolute dust storm of hairs everywhere wherever she goes. It's just this, just cat hair. I don't even can see them on the camera. I mean, this first world problem and all that. You kind of know what you're getting into with a cat like that. But wherever she walks, it's just like someone shaking a bag of hair. You know, if you're walking to a barbershop with a leaf blower and just like blow the floor and the hairs just go. That's what it's like with this cat. What's more expensive, the cat or the PC? They're very close. They're very, very close. But yeah, the cat's got this nailed. Like, look at her. She knows exactly where the heat's at. She's not daft. She knows exactly where the heat's at. You're not doing the cooling any good there, cat. You know, I've got 2 exhaust fans on that PC there for a reason, and you're blocking the vents. You understand that? You don't care, do you? Just care pocket empty. Loon mate, this is the start. I'm just waffling, singing songs and talking to a cat. That's what you've missed. That's what you've missed. Right, that's a good start, right? So John, what are you saying, right? Some comments on the best practices on revision in the model versus the drawing of that model. Not a Vault user. Content's totally transformed the way I work. Oh, that's good, mate. So, revision in the model versus the drawing. You can have both. And it's a lot easier if the revision's model driven. But the revision's always usually taken from the drawing. Because it's stamped into the title block, but you tend to not. It depends how you work, mate. I mean, some drawings have got independent revisions to the drawing itself. Some companies, I think that's the way we do. Our models have independent revisions to the actual drawing, so the drawing can be revised independently of the model itself. Hello. So yeah, it just depends how you work, but the revision in the model versus the drawing of that model. Yeah. We had the exact same discussion at work this week, how to deal with revision. I mean, with Vault, you get a revision against every file. So if you create a part, like, I don't know, that. So you stick that in the Vault, that'll get revision A. Assuming you've got revisions set up in Vault workgroups or professionals, so that'll get revision A. And then you create a drawing of it. When you place that part onto a drawing sheet, you've got a couple of options. You can choose to map the revision of this into the title block of the drawing, and then the drawing will always match the revision of the part. Or you can choose to have a separate revision for a drawing. But either way, they should still have independent revisions. But it's whether you want the drawing and the model to have independent or the same revision. But either way, the model should really... It's the product that gets revised in most instances. But what happens if the drawing's got like a massive note issue on it? So the drawing gets released, but then there's an issue with a note. Someone like a paint issue. Someone's got a note there saying how the paint should be applied or how a finish should be applied, and then oh shit, that's wrong. We need to change that note, but the drone's already been issued. Well, that's not a change to this; it's a change to a note. So the drawing needs to be up-issued, but the model isn't. You could still up-issue the model, but would you really want to up-issue a model because of a note on a drawing? How do you keep track of that? So it's easier to have an independent revision for the drawing and the model. If you're not using Vault, that's a nightmare. If you're using Vault, that's what Vault's for. Recommend you go for Vault. That's exactly what Vault it exists for. So yeah, that's my take on it. Must be a 7-Up cap. No, it's a Buxton's sparkling water cap. Me and the wife were just somehow... I always hated sparkling water. For 40 years of my life, I've hated it until the last year, and then suddenly I've just loved it. I don't know why. It's always tasted like... You know, if you go out on a night out and you're driving and you ask for Coke in a pub or in a bar, and they pour you a glass of Coke, but the Coke flavouring's empty, so you get a glass of carbonated water with like barely any Coke flavouring. That's what I've always thought this tasted like, and you're like, and it tastes wrong. It's like, that's what I thought it was like, but I quite like it. Picks up a green cap whilst using a green screen. Yeah, that is wizardry. Yeah, should have used something else more appropriate. But yeah, that was a cap. I didn't look at myself whilst I was doing that. But yes, that was a cap, or a thing, a widget, gizmo, a gadget, if you will. But yeah, depends how you work. It's a discussion that'll happen in a lot of places, where the revision's driven from. But Vault makes it a lot easier. But a good example to use and to put onto the table to have the discussion about is that situation of what happens if there's a change to something that's only on the drawing and you've got to up-issue a drawing. Do you really want to reissue a part revision because of what's happened to a note or some kind of visual change to the drawing, a typo on a drawing, for example? That's something that you'd have to discuss internally. One of those things. As the only engineer and license in the business, would you set a Vault after 7 years without Vault? Does it work well out of the office? I probably would still do it. Yeah, I mean, how much data have you got? How many other people are there? Is it just you? Are you feeding that data into other people? If you're a solo, even if you're a solo contractor though, like say if I was, I know Adam who's in here, he's got, it's just, I think it's just him, but he'll be generating data for clients, and he'll be generating project data unique to that client. If it's just him, well, that data still exists, still got to go somewhere, and it might get called upon later. The client might come back and say, right, that project you did for us, we might need to do a mod to it. Where do you keep that data? Would you really feel comfortable with it being stored on like an external hard drive or something like that? And then, I've had this for like 10 years and kept it in a drawer. How confident am I if I plug that in that it's going to work? Well, not very. It probably will, but client data on it. So putting something in a Vault, even though it is buggy as hell, but for basic data storage and then just making sure the data is backed up, I think it's for the most part got that stuff locked down. You tend to come across the bugs when you're trying to... Actually, that's a lie. No, I mean, like, the bugs tend to be with the CAD integrations. And they're not even bugs, to be honest. Like, it's just... hesitant to call it poor design. It just needs to be better. Integrating Inventor in Vault. Like, for example, perfect example is when you've got a released data set and then you bring that out of the vault, put it into Inventor, there's a very real chance that Inventor just doesn't give a shit that some of your stuff's released, and then it'll start trying to edit it. It'll let you bounce through prompts and edit released data, which is released, it's locked, it'll not let you put that back into the vault, and then it just causes this horrible mess of, well, I've got new parts here, but I can't check them in because there's linked files here which are edited and won't go back in. And it's things like that. But it's just a data storage area, it's like a electronic document management system. It's probably a good idea to have that, even if it's just you. You can put the Vault server part of it on your laptop and then just routinely back that up. And then you can have the backups on different hard disks, different areas. Put a backup on a Dropbox account, put a backup on an external hard disk. Have multiple areas where you've got backups rather than putting everything in one area. He tried using Vault in a laptop before, but IIS destroyed performance. Why would IIS destroy performance? I mean, if it was a long time ago, sort of Windows XP days, Windows Vista days, even Windows 7 days, I think, you had to manually install IIS on your laptop. In fact, even before IIS, Autodesk had their own version of IIS called Autodesk Web Services, I think, and you had to install that on your laptop to get Vault to work. This is the Win 7 days. I mean, IIS shouldn't have any impact on performance because it's just a bunch of... It doesn't do anything until you ask it to do something, and then it just sends data across. So when you say it destroys performance, of what? Was it killing the processor whilst nothing was happening? I've never seen that happen. Not sure. You don't need to run Vault all the time if you're the only user. True. If you're the only user, then a lot of what Vault does won't be used. Like, a lot of what Vault does is like locks files so other people in the office don't edit them. So one of the Vault selling points is like you've got a model, and it might have 10 parts in it, and then you might have 5 people working on those 10 parts. Well, you don't want 2 people opening up the same parts on different workstations and trying to edit the same part at the same time. So Vault does that checkout thing, where it checks out a part to a workstation so someone else can't get at it. They can download a copy of it and have it open on their system, but it won't let them edit it because it's checked out to another person. The edit or the rights to edit that file is checked out to another person. So it brings benefits like that to multi-user offices, but if it's just you, then you won't see those benefits. You won't use them, so you won't need to run it all the time. You could just use it as just, I'm working on a project, I'm keeping it all on my laptop until I'm ready to just back it up, and then you can just chuck it into Vault. I would suggest not doing that, because Vault does have other, like version control. Version control would be even just as one person, version control is awesome. You create whatever, you chuck it into Vault, it goes in as don't forget, versions different to revisions. Version is any change at all to a file. It could be changing the size of it, changing the material, color, form, whatever. It's whenever you put the file back into Vault and it's changed, it goes up a version. So you model this, you chuck it into Vault, it's version 1. You bring it back out of Vault, you spend a day working on it, you put it back into Vault, it's now version 2. Back in, goes up to version 10, and then you've now got 10 iterations of this, how it's changed over the course of its life. And at any point, you can go back to version 4, and then you can say, okay, version 10 hasn't quite worked out how I'd planned. I've made a bit of a pig's ear of this. I've kind of got myself in the shit with it. I don't know quite how to fix it, but it was okay around version 4, maybe a couple of days ago. I'll kind of pull version 4 out of the Vault and then revert it back to that. You can do that. Even with Vault Basic, you can do that. So you get that with Vault Basic, and that's useful and valuable for a single person who's just working on their own. There's like a copy design. Copy design's another use. You get that in Vault Basic. You want to take, you've modeled this for client A. Client B comes along and says, right, we want a mouse, but we don't want it like this. We want a left-handed version of this. And you're like, oh, for God's sake, I'm not going to, how do I do a left-handed version of this? I've done it already and it's right-handed. So copy design lets you, it's the save as in Vault, but it'll let you create a new top-level assembly and then reuse all the bits in between it, but swaps out bits and adds extra bits in it. It's like an advanced Vault-level save as, which is really nice. Add image version numbers and revision numbers. What? Image version numbers and revision number are commonly mixed. Don't know what that means. Oh, you mean? I mean like people confuse version and revision numbers. Oh, imagine, right? Yes, they are. It's just terminology. Even today, people confuse version and revision. Something can be up. Something can get to version 50 before it's revision 1. But it's 50 work in progress iterations of something before it's released and finished at revision 1. And then when it goes to revision 2 at version 51, it can be 52, 53, 54, 55. They're all revision 2. And then revision 2 could be released at version 66, for example. But yeah, people confuse the terminology, versions and revisions, which it's easily corrected. It's easily explained away. It depends what context the discussion's in, but yeah, it's never a big deal, really. So I saying that, so you can, for new projects from repeat clients, you can copy design a similar item like a storage tank, and then just rename the project. $350 a year. Yeah, copy design. Like a lot of companies, this is something I ought say a lot. Like a lot of companies run their entire business off copy design, like conveyor companies. Companies that there's a company in Hull in the UK called Logan Teleflex. Don't know what they're called now. But if you go to the airport, like you pick your bag up off the conveyor, they make those baggage hand. I think they've changed their name now, but they were called Logan Teleflex, and they've got their names stamped on all the rubber blades that go around and they carry your suitcases around. But they do the baggage handling conveyors for all, but a lot of UK airports, possibly global airports. I don't know. It's been years since I've done anything with them. But whenever they do a new baggage system, obviously they're not going to model it up from scratch. They've got tons in the library that they've already done. So they do a copy design. They'll take something they've already done and then copy the design, reuse probably the motors, the panels, and then they'll just pick and choose which bits they want to keep. Ask Vault to copy all of that, create a new top-level assembly, give that a new name, and then it reuses all the bits from the old project that they want to keep. And companies run their business off of that. It's mint. It's had its issues over the years. Like the new copy designs went through several iterations before it's on its way to being accepted. But they're around you. Yeah, they're Hull. I can visualize where it is. I'd been there several times. If you Google them, you'll find. I'm going to Google them now because they might have changed their name now. They're called. I'm not saying that. I get demonetized. Daifuku. That's an unfortunate name. Oh, you imagine getting acquired by that? Daifuku. That's unfortunate. Aye. But yeah, they're a pretty decent reference account for Inventor and Vault. They used all the systems pretty well, pretty perfectly, and yeah, it's one that stuck out for me because I went and visited them quite a few times. Ulf just installed Vault Basic the other day at home, figuring out how to use it best to see it benefits with versioning. But do you use it for all kinds of resources, say VRED HDR collections as well? No. Vault's Vault Basics very. I mean, you can stick stuff in Vault from other programs, but I don't. I could, but I don't. The only programs that I tend to use Vault with are the programs that have a native Vault plugin. So anything that Vault delivers a tab to the top of the application and natively plugs itself into and allows native check-in and check-out, that's really only what I use Vault with. Vault will take any file. So like a VRED HDR file, for example, or a keyshot file, or an ANSYS file, whatever it is. You can drag and drop them into Vault and it'll accept them. Vault will take any file. You can stick any file of any type into Vault. But if it's a file that Vault doesn't recognize, then you still get version control with it, in that when you bring that out of Vault and then make a change to it and put it back in, it'll keep a track of how it's changed. But it'll probably make working with that file a little bit more difficult than otherwise, because you can't, say it's a VRED file, you won't be able to send that VRED file into Vault from VRED. You'll have to work on it in VRED, save it, close VRED down, and then manually drag the file into Vault every time you want to put it in and put it out. So I tend to not. You can, I just tend to not. With Vault Basic as well, you'll probably have to keep an eye on how big you make in your Vault. If you're working with Vault Basic, you're probably using SQL Express.
Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight.
Welcome, Bruno.
Grab some afternoon.
Thank you, mate, for joining. That's the first time that's worked.
Always been when it's right, it's
You're
right.
welcome for the Cameron Diaz little picture there. You're welcome. I know. I got you. Welcome, Bruno. What was I saying? Yeah, keep an eye on how big your Vault's getting. SQL Express has changed over the years, in that the database limit that you've got with SQL Express has increased. It used to be like 2 gigabytes or something. It was a really small database limit with SQL Express, but I think it's a lot bigger now. But you just have to be aware that the more stuff you chuck into SQL Express, like VRED files are big. If you're chucking in HDR images, they're going to create a lot of metadata. It's just going to stack up, and you're just rapidly losing time. You're galloping towards an expiration date on your Vault when you're working with Vault Basic. If you're working with just CAD data, AutoCAD files, Inventor files, they're not that big. So you've probably got a good few years of using SQL Express before you can, probably 5 to 10 years. If you're just a solo worker, probably longer than that, before you even have to worry about hitting limits on SQL Express. But yeah, start chucking in files that are gigabytes in size, and you're going to gallop towards that SQL limit very quickly. But yeah, it's an SQL database, and if you install Vault Basic just off of the download, that's what you'll get. You'll just get given SQL Express. I think it's SQL Express 2017 you get these days. Couldn't tell you what the limit is nowadays. If anyone knows, put it in the chat. But SQL 2017 database size limit 10 gigabytes. So basically, there's a couple of issues there actually. So if you're using SQL Express, which you will be with Vault Basic, your database, don't mistake the database for being how much data you can put in your Vault. It's different. The database limit is how much metadata, relationship information, it's all the links and the information about the files that get stored at a database level. That's what the database limit is. The physical amount of files, which is how big the drawing is, how big the model is. If you go to Windows Explorer, right click on a file, look at the file size. That's not what the database size is. But it's going to be 10 gig for database size. that's still a lot of production vaults at this point are way past 10 gigabytes, put it that way. But a lot of production vaults have multiple people working on these vaults daily. So although it seems like 10 gigabytes is miles away, as a solo person, just sticking stuff into a vault, you'll probably never hit that. But if you, like I say, if you do start chucking in massive files, you will hit that. But there's a couple of other kickers here that I've just seen when I've just Googled it. Compute capacity. SQL Express can only use 4 cores on the CPU. Probably not the end of the world. I don't think that's going to slow anyone down using Vault Basic. Maximum memory of 1.4 gigabytes though, that's a bit of a sucker punch. So SQL Express with Vault Basic, the server itself, the whole of SQL Express can only use 1.4 gig of RAM. That sucks. That's Microsoft saying, F you. If you want SQL Express to perform decently, it's not happening. You're going to have to upgrade to full SQL, because SQL is a memory hog. It really is. Like if I go to my Vault server now, I guarantee the RAM usage on that server is full, like 32, or I think it's a 32 or even maybe 64 gig of RAM. The SQL process just consumes the entirety of whatever RAM is there. So limiting that to like 1.4 gig of RAM, probably not. It's not. Again, one person though, it's not really going to be that much of an issue. But it's just if you ever expand though, it's like it's just you in the office. It's just your laptop. Sure. Multiple people though, a couple of people in an office. You take on a couple of projects and you hire a couple of extra people and you share your Vault out. Then 1.4 gig of RAM across SQL Express might be an issue. Aye, Bruno, mate, join Discord if you can do. Welcome in. You make sure that your email address is linked. You need to go into Discord settings and then link your YouTube account to a Discord account. You've got to download Discord, mate. And then I think I've put in the community area of my channel. I think I've put in a message there what the Discord server is. So when you open up Discord, create an account, join the server, and then I think you can link your YouTube address. The steps should be there, I think. If not, just ask in the community area on the channel, and we'll help out. SQL's hogging 150 megabytes idle. Is that the SQL service or the SQL 150 megabytes? That's not very much for SQL. Sure. If you've not used it since you've rebooted, it might not have had a chance to bloat up. It bloats up quickly once you start using it. I don't know. I haven't said that. I've not used SQL Express in a long time. To be honest, I only ever use full SQL. I manage a system that uses full SQL Enterprise Edition, so I don't know the behavioral patterns of SQL Express at the moment. There's only 20 files in there. Yeah, it's not going to use that much, to be honest. Aye. What drives Vault at the back end? Oh, it's Loon's answer that. So at the back end, it's SQL, Microsoft SQL. Vault itself has the ADMS, which is the Autodesk Data Management Server. That's Autodesk's own console. And then it uses Internet Information Services, IIS, to connect between your PC and the Vault server. If they're on the same laptop, it still uses IIS, it just all happens on the same laptop. And that's really all there is to it. It's a lot easier now than it used to be back in the day to get Vault installed. With the install still the same, they've just managed to iron out a lot of the issues that we used to hit a long time ago when installing Vault. The pre-checks of doom. You know, the ASP.NET errors and .NET errors were awful back in the day. But yeah, it's free. Just give it a shot. I mean, if you stick it on, if it doesn't work out, just take it off. Shouldn't be much. Shouldn't do any harm. And then another good thing about Vault as well is like there's a good migration path. So if you do go for Vault Basic and then you think, I kind of see the need, I can see the benefit in having revisions, you can migrate from Vault Basic up to Workgroups and then from Workgroups up to Professional. So you can migrate up without having to like take everything off and put everything back on. So it's good for that. Cloud-based solutions, Fusion. So we're looking at Fusion Lifecycle at the moment. To be honest, I'm not massively familiar with PLM. That's what Fusion Lifecycle is. It's PLM. So I know we need PLM. I don't know why. I just know we need it. But I'm not personally familiar with what the extent of PLM is, what it's about, what it replaces. Because PLM will replace a huge part of Vault Professional. And there's so many different flavors of PLM. There's like Fusion Lifecycle, there's Windchill, there's a lot of these Autodesk partners have got their own little PLM solutions that they've all developed and that they obviously think's the best one. So I don't know. Sevilia, yep, that's one that we're looking at. But it's really difficult to make a decision based off of kind of Teams calls and brief chats, because you know that you need to kind of maintain a certain level of functionality within a business, but then you look at a PLM solution, you've just got no idea, like, is that going to still let you do what you need to do? If you bring that in, what the hell is going to change? Are you just being told yes by a salesman because he's got total faith in his technical team that they'll be able to deliver anything that he asks them to, when in reality it won't? I don't know. So yeah, Fusion Lifecycle is one of the ones that I'm looking at, but I don't know. I've just got mixed feelings on Fusion Lifecycle. Just purely based on the fact that it kind of, I don't know, I've just heard things, I've just heard stories about it it hasn't gained much traction in Europe, in the UK. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's just fundamentally not very good, or whether it's just, I don't know. So I'm kind of hesitant to pull the trigger on something like that. But I don't know enough about it. I don't have it. I don't know the extent of what it does, but it's on the to-do list of things to look at. CATIA and SolidWorks equivalents. SolidWorks is PDM Works. CATIA's, don't know. CATIA data management. Innovia? Is it Innovia or is that, I don't know. Just landed on the Dassault website. Innovia CATIA V5 data management solution by Innovia 3D Experience. But yeah, Windchill's the PTC version of Vault. But Windchill's also a PLM solution. I think Windchill does a lot of things, whereas Vault doesn't. Vault sort of ends it. Sort of product data management. It does a bit of product. It does a bit of life cycle management with items and change orders, and that's it. Doesn't do anything more than that. But then when PLM comes in, PLM takes over that side of Vault, and then kind of kicks Vault back to being just a file management system. So that's all on my to-do list to look at. And not just me, it's way too much work for one person to look at all of that stuff. But I need educated on what the extent of PLM is. Good morning, Chris Baxter. Welcome along. Welcome along. I need to get this microphone sorted out as well. This microphone is absolute busting my balls. I don't know if anyone's noticed in the last video I did there with the workstation, but I had to go through and edit about a dozen plosives. Bonus points if you know what a plosive is. But even though I've got this flipping pop filter that's meant to block the, you know, when your mouth makes a B or a P or a T, it's supposed to block the explosion of sound from hitting the microphone. Apparently not. Apparently this has got one job and it does a crap job at it. And I've had such a bad relationship with audio ever since I started this channel. Whether it be dodgy levels, whether it be dodgy music, whether it be whines in the background, like a hissing noise or a whining noise or whatever, or that. I'm just thinking, right, do you know what it is? The hell with this, I'm going to get a better microphone. Probably an XLR microphone with like a amp or something. Because this is just a USB microphone. And I'm getting interference through the USB cable. And sitting there highlighting, flipping sections of the audio to get rid of the B's and P's. What am I doing with my life here? What's going on? But apologies to anyone who was listening to my headphones on and the ears were like, yeah. That was tres annoying. But aye, if anyone's still on Patreon, by the way, that's going to get shut down soon. I keep saying that, but a couple of people joined this week, which I was not expecting. I felt awful. I was going to shut it down yesterday, and then someone joined yesterday morning. I was like, oh, I feel bad now. If I shut it down, literally an hour after they joined, I'm like, how am I going to do that? So I'm going to probably shut it down, I don't know, tomorrow, I think, if I can find the button in Patreon that does that. So if any of you guys are on Patreon still, that's going to go, and then that'll kick you out of Discord, unfortunately. So if you just want to stay in the Discord, you'll have to rejoin up as members on YouTube. But just a heads up on that. Is it unfortunate? Thing is with Patreon, it didn't work out. I've already got more members now on YouTube than I had on Patreon after Patreon's been on for 4 years. Absolutely massively grateful to everyone who's the guys on Patreon were amazing. It built them. That's how Discord started. It just didn't. The wider scheme of things, it just didn't work out. It just didn't sort of take off. But yeah, the YouTube, I think it's because people prefer to stay on YouTube. So thanks to the guys who did do that. But it's unfortunate in that Patreon kind of gives you all of the funds, whereas YouTube takes 30% and gives you very little back for it. Is that the old office? No, this is my new office, mate. It's just green screened. So I'm like literally right now I'm sat in that chair. It's just green screened. It's voodoo and hocus pocus. Sorcery. I saw someone else do it in a video. They tidied their office up. Got it all nice and tidy, so I polished the bench. You see, look how shiny the bench is, man. I did that, wood polish. And then got it all nice and polished and neat. And then I did a looping video of a couple of minutes. And I thought I'll have that as a green screen background. It looks pretty dapper. So I'm literally right here now looking at that monitor, talking to you through that mic. But I'm kind of sat back here. It's some kind of weird Inception shit. What are you using for the LED strip at the back of your bench? That's a good question. It was really cheap as well. It was it's a 5 meter long. Oh, it's probably still in the Amazon. I got it off Amazon. It was cheap as balls, man. It was like 20 quid, something like that. Should be my previous orders. It was like 20 quid, 5 meter long LED strip, and it's got like a little controller where you can change it from blue to purple to red to whatever. I don't want it flashing like a disco, but I'm pretty sure it should still be in here. But it looks kind of good. Like, that's it. $22.99. Alexa LED lights 5 meter Govee smart Wi-Fi wireless app control. Blah blah blah. I've yet to see this wireless app controlled crap. Not seen that. Or Alexa control. It comes with this. You see that little? Oh, I can't. Yeah, this thing here. That there. I've just taped that to the underside of the desk, and then the top button changes the colours. This changes the mode, and then that turns it off and on, and then that's pretty much it. And then I just taped it to the back of the desk, and it sort of projects onto the back of the desk. 20 quid for a 5 meter length of LED cable. It looks class. So I was well chuffed for that. You look at the Phillips Hue. Yeah, Phillips Hue's good. I'm not part of the whole home or the smart home community. There's a massive smart home community where people are like, they're like proper into whether it's a Philips or a, what's all the other Zigbee, this and different protocols for smart home stuff. There's a massive like fan base, fanboyisms of all different types of protocols. I just don't care. I've never personally got into smart home stuff. I think it's a stupid gimmick. Like Alexa, Google Home. It's the most, in my opinion, pathetic, pointless gimmick in the world. I've never needed in my life to ask the TV what the weather is. It's just not a thing. I'll go around to my dad. My dad's got like Google Home. He'll go, Neil, watch this. Hey Alexa, show garden cam. And then like 15 seconds later, the camera that he's got in the front of his house will show on the telly. I'm like, great story, mate. You could have just done that on your phone and it's there. Like, why do you need to do that? And then for the Google Home stuff, you spend half your time telling it, I don't understand that. I don't quite get that. And then you repeat yourself. Why? So anyway, Phillips Hue, apparently in those circles, has got a bit of a bad rep because they've already obsoleted one of the old hubs, and their bulbs are very overpriced. But I've got one of the Phillips Hue bridges, but I'm hesitant to kind of go all in on Phillips Hue because it's like 40 quid a bulb in some areas. It's a bit much. Invested in Control 4 wormhole. What the hell is that? Control 4 wormhole. I don't know what that is, but it sounds intriguing. Am I allowed to Google that? Is that something? Well, I've just Googled that, mate. Nothing came up. Have you spelled that right? Control 4 wormhole. Nothing came up. Control 4 is a home automation solution. Control 4 switches. Ah. Oh, they look, I like them. They look clean. They look clean. Get on-off control for virtually every type of load. Ladies. Including LED lights. Whole home smart lighting, home security, intercom, home theater. Oh, I like that. Imagine if that was your home theater. Love that. How buzzing would you be if that was your home theater? Aye. Given how much tech I've got in this room, I don't have a lot of smart home stuff. I've got a couple of bulbs that are Wi-Fi controlled. I just don't. A physical hardwired light switch is just as convenient as things need to be for me. Which is saying something for me, given how I've got like a shelf here with 4 VR headsets on it. You know the PC I've got. The amount of kit I've got in here. I just don't care for. I mean, the light switch I've got in here is a Wi-Fi light switch, but I'd never use it. Like, I've got an app where I can turn the light switch on and off with a push of a button on an app. I never use it. I just don't understand when I would ever need to do that. When I leave the room, the light switch is next to the door. I'll press the button on the switch when I leave the room. I can't think. Like, I'm not being like intentionally frictional. I just can't think of a situation where I would ever be away from the room and I'd want to turn the lights on or off. I'm struggling. I just can't. Well, good welcome in, mate. Bruno, you made it. That's good. It's good to know that it definitely does work and new people can get in. That's a relief. Light switches set you what? €280 for a light switch. Have you lost your mind? What does it do for €280? Baby Shark. Oh, you just didn't. You just did not put that in my head. Oh no, I'm just fine with not having smart stuff. I've got a home CCTV system, which is it's not really a smart. They're Wi-Fi, they're IP cameras, and they're linked to an app, but it's not linked to they can be linked to Google Home or that should not be named, or else she will trigger and kick off. But I don't need to. Everything can be done through the app. I can see the benefit of having everything channeled into one hub, but that can't happen. Not everything can be that way. So when you have to start fragmenting things off into she who should not be named, and then Google Home and Apple Home and all the other ones, I just think, sounds like an awful lot of effort. That sounds like might as well just have a physical switch. Use Alexa with a Samsung smartphone eHub to monitor basement flooding and set an alarm on the Alexa speaker. And see that that is something that I couldn't use it for, so that's fair enough. In the UK, I'm pretty sure a lot of the people in the UK aren't doing it for that. They are just doing it so they can walk into a room and say, "Hey, she who should not be named, turn on the downstairs light." I think that's what the UK most people are using it for. But if you've got like actual flood monitoring, then that's absolutely can't argue with that, mate. Baby Shark. Well, we did it to ourselves. There was something that I thought she who should not be named would have been useful for, and I was like, actually, that would be. I can't for the life of us remember what it was now. It was definitely not to put my garden camera onto the telly. I can't remember now. But I've managed to live my life this long without needing one. But yeah, Phillips Hue. Like, I assume if you're into the Phillips Hue thing, you've done your research. But I've seen like a canny few videos. Paul Hibbert is the best smart home YouTuber that I've seen. He was my size, not physically. I mean, like channel size. But as per everything in the way things go, his channels just explode and he's went massive. But he was about 6 months ago. His channel was about the same size as mine. He covers all home smart. Why do I keep saying home smart? Smart home stuff. And he's done lots of comparisons between like Phillips Hue, Nova Stella bulbs, Lifex bulbs, and comparing like the range of colours and how they compare. And apparently Phillips Hue, just the colour range isn't that great. I think it's more the convenience of them that Philips are charging for. The bulbs I've got a Nova Stella. It's handy if you want to set scenes. Yeah, you can set scenes on, like, I think, what's that one called that I've got? Is it Smart Life? So you've got Philips Hue, then you've got Smart Life. I'm pretty sure you can set scenes on that. Yeah, scene mode. Yeah, night, read mode, meeting mode, leisure mode. And then there's lots of pictures of lampposts and flowery trees and autumnal scenes and whatnot. So yeah. When you go to bed, it turns off the lights, closes the electric gates and blinds, and arms the house alarm with one button. When you've got electric gates, mate. When I've got electric gates, I'll pick this conversation back up with you. If I need one button to close the electric gates, notify the butler that I'm going to bed so that he can then cook breakfast in the morning, then I'll think about having a smart home. No, I don't have anything like that. Like, I've just got nothing. Like, everything I do is just mandrolic. Handy turny key. There's nothing I can. I assume that's all that. If this, then that. IFTT. I've got an out for that. I'm thinking about getting a garage that does, like, the roller garage. But then I'm not even going to put my car in the garage, so I wouldn't even need the garage to have, like, if your car drives up the driveway, then open the garage. I'm not even going to need that. So, yeah. I don't know. I see the benefit, but yeah, I'm just not in that place to get the benefits of all that stuff. But I see the appeal. I do see the appeal. But shout out to Hibbert, 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 if you haven't seen his channel already. Mandrolic, yeah. That's my CFO, the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of where I work. It's his favourite expression. Mandrolic. Oh, we've got lots of these mandrolic processes. We need to get this fandangled thing, handle turning, mandrolic processes. Mandrolic. Kind of sticks. If cat jumps on the PC, push cat off PC. I would say more like, if cat jumps on PC, reroute fans, like, instead of those top fans being exhaust. Actually, that wouldn't work, because then it would just suck air. It would suck cat air. I was going to say, like, flip the fans around so it's not blowing air onto the cat, but then it's just going to pull cat air into the PC. So yeah, I would need an ejector seat, wouldn't I? Eject cat off of computer. Cat, you're being talked about. You don't care, do you? Not at all. She's just chilling. Just loving this new computer. The old one that I had, which was the Fantex case, it was really narrow and it had, like, filleted edges. So she'd like turn around and then she'd slip off it, which was like kind of sinister but funny. But this one's just like a massive fat case, so it's just like a huge bed. You can buy cats the most expensive plush furry bed that fit for a queen, and they'll sleep on a metal bed. It's cats. Or eject treat elsewhere. Yeah, no. Yeah. What state is manufacturing in the UK like at the moment with the whole COVID thing? I don't think it's great. I don't know personally. I'm not following all the markets, so I can't give you a good answer on that. I haven't been watching how things are going as a bigger picture. Adam might have a good idea on that, because he's probably got his ear closer to the wall than I have. but I know things are quite slow, and I think there is a big recession around the corner. The government has ploughed an insane amount of money into this country. It's going to have to be paid back. It's gonna hurt. So I think there's a huge recession around the corner. So I don't know. I don't know what the state of things are at the moment. But I don't think it's going to be good. I might do some research on that actually, to find out how things are going in the wider picture. I've got some contacts in place, like the likes of Autodesk resellers and people who are. They tend to gauge how things are going based off of how much business they get going, like how many training course inquiries they get, sales inquiries, who's paying their invoices, who's not. That's a good indication of how business is. It's kind of hard else, otherwise to gauge the overall state of it. Fabrication is busy, but a lot of the machine shops are quite slow. Yeah, I'm not sure. For the clients I've worked with, most of these small manufacturers, they don't seem to be doing too bad. That's good, I guess. I know throughout even the worst of this, we were still kind of operating a skeleton crew on the shop floor with social distancing. I think we furloughed quite a few people on the shop floor who couldn't work from home, but for projects that were needing to be done, you could still send people into work to get stuff built. So I think fabrication shops are probably doing that. But then if you're a fabrication shop and you're taking work from companies who can't do that, then I don't know. Last 2 weeks, I had 4 clients come back to me asking to come and lend a hand. That's pretty decent. I must admit, I've been getting an unusual amount of queries through. Now and again, I'll get Twitter messages from people which I admittedly don't respond to fast enough because I don't use Twitter. So I'll log into Twitter and then I'll see a tweet to me from 3 weeks ago from someone saying, "Hey, are you available to do some work?" I'm like, oh, whoops, a bit late for that. But I've had a couple of them recently from people saying, "Are you available to do some consulting or something?" No idea what, but I've had a couple of them recently, which more than normal, which I suppose is a good thing. Can't say that's indicative of the overall country though. But yes, January will tell a lot. Yeah, I still think there's gonna be a huge recession. Don't have any poaching offers. No, not really. I've kind of made it pretty clear that I'm not an engineer. I'm not really all that interested in I've never been in manufacturing. Although I've worked within the industry, I've never been hands-on with it. So I can't do engineering work. I don't want to. I've always been the software guy. That's my thing. I love how the software. That's why I'm so invested in the benchmarking stuff that I'm doing with the new TFI benchmarking tool. That's my bag. That's where my skills are at. I, to a certain extent, have always taught, kept right, supported, and managed the engineers and the guys who do the real work. I've never been the engineer. I just don't want to be. It's not my thing. Didn't go to university for it. Wasn't interested in going to university for it. I can't hold a conversation with anyone about, oh, did you see, that set of gears is dead good. What that means. Oh, look at the viscosity of that oil, isn't that nice? It's not I don't know. But yeah, that's just not my bag. So anyone who comes to me saying, I've got some contracting for you, a bit of CAD work, I probably could, I just don't want to. So the types of jobs that I can take on, or I could take on, are quite limited. I'm at a point now, personally, where I just... Oh, you could have told us my background had gone off. Ugh. How's that gone so badly? Oh, it's a bit late for that. Yeah, I'm at a point in my career now where I don't want to start changing things up. I don't want to change the career. If anything, if this was to stop, and I was to go back into it being full-time kind of contracting / starting a business type of an arrangement, I'd probably go in as director level, set up deals, do the contract talks, that kind of stuff, and then allocate resource to do stuff for me. I'm not. I think my days of going into. I do get a lot of offers on LinkedIn from recruiters who are like, "Hey, my client is an Autodesk reseller and they're looking for an applications engineer," and I'm like, "Oh, sweetie, it's cute that I'm not. I've done that for 10 years. I ain't doing that again. I'm not going to do AutoCAD basic courses. I'm a bit. I've served my time with that, shall we say? So I get a lot of that. That's not poaching. That's just somebody on LinkedIn who's just put in some search criteria, and I've just popped up, and they've just gone, "He looks like he knows 3D." We'll send him a message. But my days of doing that's over. I did it for 10 years, served me time. Not doing it again. I've got a list of things that I'd be prepared to do if I was to like stop the YouTube stuff, or not necessarily stop the YouTube stuff, but I can't remember if I've talked about this on Discord, but more like develop or capitalize on what YouTube's created. So we've got this sort of community, this foundation of or a platform of companies and people who are all kind of watching what I do and watching the videos. There is a possibility that I could spawn a business off of the back of that and then start working for the people who have already got involved. That would be the only I've got no plans to do that, but that would be the only thing that I would do. But I wouldn't go. I wouldn't be training. I wouldn't be going in on site and, hey, let's do an inventor course. Here's the difference between view reps and levels of detail, and this is how you set up a drawing. Oh yeah, those styles and textures. Oh, they're a tricky one. That's just how you do it, right? Nah. I'd be more like, we're probably recruiting a team of people who I know and I could trust to do it as good as me. Be a point of reference for them, and then build like a team of experts or something, and then get them to do it. If I was to do anything hands-on, it would probably be hardware stuff. Not building computers, but just maybe I'm just waffling here, but I don't think there's any money in this at all. But I don't think there will be, but consultancy for guiding how to spec it. I don't know, like you've got a client who's got 1,000 PCs and they want to make sure they're buying the right one. Would they pay a company to make sure, or to reference and check that they're buying the right parts? Probably not. That would be the only thing I would do. Guidance and advice for companies on buying the right parts. But with any Let Me Benchmark tool, I'll probably just do that anyway. Or CGI stuff, possibly. That would be something I would do. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to build at the moment. So building revenue and networking to get me there, to be able to get that team put together. Yeah. See, I've kind of went. I think you're where I was like a couple of years ago. I had my own company. It still exists, but I'm not contracting anymore. But I've now went back into staff. I've got a secured staff position. So if I was to do this, I'd be leaving a pretty decent staff position to go back into running a business. which at the moment, given the way things are, the uncertainty, the upcoming recession, the upcoming problems that we're going to have, it seems kind of risky. So I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, mate, right, we've been on for an hour. Anyone got anything else you just want to yap about? Hey, we did a kind of bit of CAD stuff on the support desk this week, didn't we? It was a good one. This was a good one. Aye. IR35 changes coming in April, and then IR35 changes. So I always assumed I was outside of the bounds of IR35. I always thought IR35 was like, oh, need to make sure you are not kind of a contractor, but you should be staff. And I always thought I was well outside of those bounds, but you prefer later for the support desk? Yeah, mate, this is I'm going to the parents for dinner in a couple of hours, so I thought I'd get this one done early. So yeah, it is a bit earlier, this one. But I've got things to do this afternoon, mate, unfortunately, so I thought I'll get it done early today. What I want is this damn benchmarking tool to be finished so I can free up some time and do some more stuff. Maybe some more live streams. But the more time I put into it, the better it'll be and the better it'll pay off. But right, lads, thank you very much. That's the support desk. Appreciate you coming on. Welcome along, Bruno. Pop into Discord and see you along there. So yes, I wasn't in Discord much over the last week. I'll try to get in more this week. I am 100% flat out on the benchmarking tool at the moment, but I'll try and get in. I do want to try and get your feedback on it when it's ready to be presented. So I'll do that when I can. So stay tuned for that. But yeah. Okie dokie. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you next one.